Hey friends, so I have been getting a lot of messages and feedback from clients that they're starting to feel pretty overwhelmed with how many behavioral problems their dog has and how many goals they have to work through. So what I wanted to do in this little mini training is I want to break down how we prioritize our goals for our dogs and in what order we work through their recovery journey. So what I want you to do, this is going to be specifically for folks that have highly anxious dogs, particularly if you have a dog that's facing both reactivity or sensitivity to triggers, say another dog, another person, sounds, plus you have a dog that's also facing separation anxiety. So if you have a dog that's facing multiple anxiety disorders, then it can be very overwhelming. And what I'd like you to do, if you wouldn't mind, is tell me in the comments if this is resonating with you, because I think sometimes we think we're the only ones on the ship, that we're the only ones that know what it's like to have a dog that is experiencing anxiety on a high level, and it can feel very isolating. But I think that if I can pull some of my extroverts together to comment and say, yes, this is me, I resonate with this, then some of our more introverted folks like myself, who may not necessarily be the first ones to speak up and say, this is like me, we're gonna see that, okay, we're not actually on this ship alone, that there are other people that are feeling this overwhelm, there are other people that maybe don't necessarily know how to prioritize their goals. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. So first of all, I wanna say that it's perfectly normal for you to have this sense of like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, my dog is so anxious and so reactive, and there's just so many contexts that I don't even know where to start. And that is also taking a toll on our mental health, right? Because it's little things like, you have to split up the family for holidays, and you can't necessarily have everybody go to Christmas because someone's got to stay home with the dog to make sure he doesn't get anxious. Or it's little things like, we want to take a trip up to a different state to visit family, but someone's got to stay home with the dog, so we've got to split that. There's little events like as simple as you can't even make a spontaneous decision to go out. When you have a dog that is experiencing high anxiety, whether that is separation anxiety or anxiety out in the world or both, you don't get the liberty of just deciding to go have a party. You don't get the liberty of just deciding, I think I'm gonna go pick up pizza. Every little thing of your life has to be planned. Every little moment of your life has to be strategic to keep your dog comfortable and as sub-threshold as possible. And that in and of itself is giving you overwhelm, right? The fact that there's so much and you don't even know how to prioritize. So what we really need to do is we need to streamline your goals. We need to get very clear on what your goals are, what is going to bring you immediate relief in your life, what is going to bring immediate relief to your dog, and how can we start giving you guys a sense of normalcy back. That's what we need to focus on. So the very first thing I want you guys to do is just brain dump all of your goals that you have and brain dump all of the goals that your dog has. Now, it's important that you do both. And sometimes when I say, I want you to brain dump your dog's goals, they say like, I don't know, what does my dog want? What does my dog need? I don't know. Well, your dog wants to feel safe, right? He wants to be able to go to the park and play and smell the grass and have a safari without feeling like he needs to hyperscan too. And he may not be able to articulate it in such a higher order construct like we can, but we know that's what he's striving for. So you can start to look through the world through your dog's lens and see, what are they striving for? What is their objective? What are your goals for your dog? And what are your dog's goals, right? And then you need to start to prioritize them. And we first are going to look at the things that are most dangerous and occurring most frequently. So you want to think about if there's an immediate threat, if there's an immediate danger situation going on, then that's something that we need to be managing right away. And depending on how solid our management is, that will kind of influence how soon we work on it. And when I'm talking about management, I mean things that are going to be like a temporary fix. So for example, if you know that every single time you walk out your front door, your dog has a reactive moment to a neighbor's dog that's always out loose, can we stop taking your dog for walks? Is that a possibility? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know, I can't tell you. But is it possible that we can just put a hold on all walks to prevent your dog from having an anxious moment with the neighbor dog? Or if it's something like, my dog gets reactive to children. Well, can we avoid children? If you don't live with any children, can you just avoid taking your dog where there are going to be children loose? So some management is easier to implement than others, right? And the first thing that we have to assess is, when it comes to our danger moments, these danger goals that are high risk, can we implement a sufficient amount of management to prevent issues while we're working on some other things? If you can't, and it's still a high concern, then those are one of the first things that we're focusing on. You can forget all your other goals. This context right here is what we're going to focus on. Then we want to think about frequency of the event, right? So a lot of times dogs get reactive to when the mailman occurs or shows up. Well, if the mailman is showing up every single day, that's a frequent event. That's happening 7 times a week, 6 times a week, every week. That's a frequent enough event that we need to be working on that. If it's talking about separation anxiety, and you need to be taking a shower every single day, but you can't because your dog is going to get anxious at the bathroom door every single time you do it, that's a goal we need to be prioritizing, because you need to take a shower, right? So we need to be looking at the events that are goals that are dangerous and frequent enough that we need to be tackling those before we focus on anything else. Those are our priorities. Once we have either implemented management to make sure that those issues are not going to be as bad or not even occur at all, or we're doing a training protocol, right? And we're actually desensitizing those moments and our dogs are feeling better in them, then we can start to shift our focus to other priorities. So other priorities tend to be things that are usually pretty abstract. So what I want you guys to do right now is I want you to tell me in the chat what your 2 biggest goals are for your dog when it comes to your dog's training. What are the 2 biggest things that you need your dog to learn? Usually I hear things like, I want my dog to stop getting reactive to people, or I want to be able to leave my dog alone so I can go to work or I can go to the grocery store. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with those goals, but they're super abstract, particularly the ones that are like, I need to have my dog not reacting to dogs and people. That is the equivalent to me saying, I want to go become an Olympic swimmer. Is it possible? Yes. Could I put in enough work to make it happen? Absolutely. All of those things check out. That's doable. We can do that. But we need to find some goals between now and when I'm at the Olympics that I can achieve that are going to give me some easy wins, right? So we need to be finding some goals that are not as broad and not as far in the future. We need to find some goals that we can actually attain a lot sooner, that we can have our eyes on the prize, and more importantly, that are going to bring you and your dog some semblance of normalcy back. So for example, when it comes to separation anxiety, one of the things that I hear is that we can't leave our dog at home because he has separation anxiety, but we also have to be really selective about where we take him because he's highly reactive. So we don't get the liberty of going to our favorite restaurant. We don't get the liberty of going to, get ice cream, because the ice cream, that place that we like, we have to walk in and we can't bring our dog inside, right? So there's these little things that you can't do because your dog has separation anxiety and reactivity. So you want to think about, what is going to bring my life a little bit of normalcy? Is it going to be as simple as, I just want to go get the mail? I need to be able to go get the mail every day from my mailbox without my dog having a panic attack. Is that going to give me a little bit of normalcy? Little things like, I just need to be able to go out, have a date night with my spouse, with my partner, right? We suddenly, forget how important it is to have just a night out by ourselves with our partner without having, our dog latched up on the top of us all the time. I was seeing a lot of TikToks recently that were talking about how, if it's somewhere that I can't bring my dog, I'm not going, right? And if it's somewhere that, if my dog's not invited, then I'm not showing up because my dog goes everywhere I go. And just between you and me, the only people who say things like that they say, I'm taking my dog everywhere, are the people who have the liberty to leave the dog at home if they wanted to. The people who have dogs facing separation anxiety and reactivity would kill for one night out without their dog, without worrying about whether or not they're putting their dog in an anxious moment at home, right? They just want that one restaurant. Just take me back to that one restaurant with friends where my dog is happily at home sleeping and I don't feel like I need to rush home or check the camera the whole night, right? So I think it's funny when I hear those things because it's like, I know that your dog doesn't have an anxiety disorder, which is great, good for you, I'm super happy. But for the rest of us that are dealing with that experience, yeah, we love taking our dogs places and we totally will continue to take them everywhere, but also, can we just have one place that doesn't allow dogs, that I can leave my dog at home and know everything is gonna be okay? So we wanna start to implement goals that are going to give a little bit of our life back. Maybe that's as simple as you're starting to implement a babysitting situation or day boarding situation where your dog is gonna feel comfortable being there, right? Maybe that's the first place you focus. And that way you can start to schedule your fun night out or run your errands, go to the grocery store, whatever. So that is the way you want to order your priorities and your goals for your dog. The first thing you need to know is what are your goals and what are your dog's goals? Because if you don't know those two things, you don't really have a starting point, right? The second thing is you need to be able to know what is happening most frequently and what are the most dangerous events that could occur, and can we either A, implement enough of management to prevent those incidents from occurring, or B, we need to be jumping on a training protocol to make sure that we're helping our dog. D, or fourth, depending on how you look at it, we need to be transferring our more broad goals and narrowing them down a little bit more specifically. We need to have very clear ideas of what are easily attainable goals that we can get now that don't make us necessarily wait for the Summer Olympics before I'm a professional swimmer, right? What are little wins that I can get along the way? Can I just start taking a shower? Can I just go get the mail? Can I set my dog up to have a babysitter situation so that I can go out for a date night with my spouse? If it has to do with reactivity, I want to know if it's not just I'm working on dogs and people, it's I'm working on dogs that are not barking, that are smaller breeds, that are 100 feet away, right? And we're getting really specific about what our goal is, and then we're just going down the order like that. We want to have a very clear pathway of what we care about in the moment and what we don't care about in the moment. So I do want to let you guys know that I am actually going to be doing a very, very, very special edition of the Recovering Rover program. I am amplifying the program as we speak, and it is going to be specifically for dogs facing reactivity and separation anxiety. So this is a very special edition of the RRP. We are amplifying it, we are improving it. We're going to get a little bit more intimate. We're going to go deep into our coaching calls and on the feedback and the support that we provide you. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this top secret edition that is starting to roll out, we've already had one person join on the underground, and I've had a few conversations with people in DMs. If you would like to learn more about this special program that is strictly for dogs facing both separation anxiety and reactivity sensitivity out in the world, and you're looking for a very comprehensive and very personalized, intimate experience with your program, then slide into my DMs and we'll chat. All right, my friends, make sure you double tap to let the Instagram algorithm know that you enjoyed this, and we'll chat very soon.